The Special Investigating Unit raided a luxury property in Sandhurst in Sandton, linked to an unnamed tycoon that is implicated in the looting scandal at Tembisa Hospital on the East Rand. The raid follows revelations in the SIU's interim report that 2 billion rand was siphoned off from the hospital through fraudulent procurement schemes. According to the SIU, 3 major syndicates orchestrated the looting, with one group, the Maumela Syndicate, allegedly tied to businessman Hangwani Morgan Maumela, whose assets include luxury homes and high-end vehicles. The investigators say the funds meant for healthcare were diverted through thousands of irregular purchase orders with no goods delivered in most cases. Now, during the raid, authorities seized 3 Lamborghinis, designer furniture and valuable artwork believed to have been purchased with proceeds from corrupt hospital deals.
Let's speak further then about the raid at the Maumela property. Bring in the head of the Special Investigating Unit, Adv Andy Mothibi. A very good evening to you, Advocate. Good to have you on the SABC as always. So let's begin with the basics, right? Where we are in terms of your investigation and how this seizure today of these assets ties in to the broader work that you're doing on the Tembisa investigation.
Oh, thank you very much for this opportunity. As you know, the investigation is ongoing, and we released a preliminary report on the 29th of September. And in that preliminary report, there were certain actions that were already completed. For example, we had already completed the finding that there are syndicates, 3 main ones. The main one led by Mr. Hangwani Maumela, and that is the unknown tycoon that the media indicates at today's raid. Our raid today was at Mr. Hangwani Maumela's house. So he's the one who's leading one of the syndicates, and under his syndicate is that of Mr. Ket Matlala. So that syndicate, as at the time of the announcement on Monday, we had found that they had executed purchases worth about 816 million plus. So that's the part that we are after for this syndicate led by Maumela. As at the time when we announced last Monday, we had already worked with the asset forfeiture unit to do preservation of certain assets. But we continued with the investigation to search for more assets, and we approached the special tribunal. The special tribunal gave an order to preserve other assets, and on the 29th, on the day we were announcing, we got an order to preserve about 500 million. But on the 7th of October, special tribunal varied that order, and we were given the order to preserve about 900 million worth of assets. Today's raid was part of executing on the order to ensure that we take the assets, those vehicles, and in the order, which I believe has been sent to your producers, we will send out a comprehensive communication tomorrow. But in the order, there's houses, there's cars, there's vehicles, including the house that you are seeing where we were raiding. We would like to make sure that all of those assets are preserved, so that when ultimately we do the recoveries, we have to now sell all those assets and take the money back to the department.
And I'm looking at the order, Advocate, today that you've shared with us, just looking at the cars alone, right? I've counted more than 10 vehicles. They include 1, 2, 3, 4... Well, some of them are Lamborghinis, some of them are Porsches. There's a Ferrari, at least 4 Ferraris that I've counted. So altogether then, in terms of the value of what you've attached today, including this house, how much is it all worth?
Today, the team is still, of course, doing the quantification, which we will communicate in the comprehensive communication tomorrow. But as you can see, those are high-end vehicles, and the house in itself, I don't want to estimate now at the top of my mind. We will give the exact value when we communicate tomorrow. But ultimately from this syndicate, as we speak today, we need to recover a total that was given by the tribunal of about 900 million. And we will trace all of those. In fact, we are aware. We know where those other assets are.
Right.
Today, the other operation was in Wheatbank, right? Because the modus operandi that these people use is that they would purchase these vehicles and leave them at the dealership and use them as and when. Our investigators were able to uncover that. So today we also operated at the dealership to ensure that we preserve those assets.
On that note, Advocate
so now,
Mothibi, on the note just about the vehicles and how they were, shall we say, hidden in plain sight at these dealerships, was that ultimately the motive of people like Maumela to basically hide assets? And if that is the case, how much do you think of their allegedly ill-gotten gains are still stashed elsewhere to avoid action like what you've done today?
Indeed, that's the method that they utilize to hide these assets. But of course, we've uncovered it, and we believe that there's other assets that are still hidden in other dealerships. In terms of some of the monies, if you look at the orders that we also preserve the funds that are in the trust accounts, in bank accounts, and so on. So the method has been used widely, and our teams are hard at work as we speak,
okay,
to ensure that we reach out to other dealerships and preserve those assets. I have given them instruction because, as you know, there's other syndicates. The other syndicate, we will be naming the name soon. We just call it X, Mr. X, because we are still finalizing some of the legal process, but they are cooperating with us. The value of the assets there is about 596 million. And then the other one is about 283 million. We will be announcing soon. So we want to really give the public assurance, right, that this is a practical example of how we act and ensure that we recover the assets. We expect that prosecution should follow. We expect that the officials should be disciplined so that the system is cleaned up and money is taken back to the government where it belongs.
Two quick ones, sir. What happens to the assets now that they're in your custody? And secondly, how much further do we expect the cost of the looting of Tembisa Hospital to balloon? Because we're currently sitting at about 2 billion rand. When you briefed, you said the investigation was ongoing, and as that unfolded, we would see that figure change.
Yeah. That's right. There is a possibility that the figure may change. But as at the time when we announced on Monday, the bundles of purchase orders that the team had looked at was about 2 billion plus. So at the moment, the investigation is still ongoing. I get regular feedbacks. We will update the public in terms of the progress. What happens to the assets? The assets are now being kept. Once they are preserved and they are seized, they are now stored safely under the curatorship to ensure that we preserve the value, to ensure that they're not damaged, so that ultimately, when we go to the special tribunal to cancel all those orders that have been made by all these syndicates, because legally we have to first cancel the orders before we can now forfeit these assets to the state. So that process will run swiftly. We're expecting it's underway as we speak. So once the orders, the purchase orders have been cancelled, we will then forfeit all these assets to the state so that the money is taken back to the Department of Health to be used, amongst others, to improve services at Tembisa Hospital.
As a final thought, have corrupt people in this country become more brazen? And if so, what has emboldened them?
You know what? I can't agree with you more. They really are so brazen. Honestly, as we assess over the years, there has been a culture of impunity. You know, these people believed that nothing will happen to them. So as we now strengthened the law enforcement agencies, we are really so determined. And as you know, that we come from the history where some of the agencies were sort of hollowed out. That has changed, right? The leadership has changed in various agencies. There's determination. We want to eradicate that culture of impunity and hold people to account so that we deter even those that were thinking that they could commit this act. So the culture of impunity really it contributed to this brazenness of these people thinking that nothing will happen to them.
Is it a war people like you can win?
We believe we can win. We believe we can win if all of the parts of the value chain really work and work well, right? As you may be aware, that the process that SIU controls end to end is the civil proceedings that leads to the recovery of money and assets, right? When it comes to criminal prosecution, we, by law, hand over that evidence to the NPA. And as I indicated to you, NPA has already started acting. We collaborate with them. Part of what they have done as part of the asset forfeiture unit, they work with us. We expect the wheels to turn and see prosecution. We expect the disciplinary part where the officials have been involved in wrongdoing. The disciplinary action should kick in. They must be taken out of the system. Mm-hmm. Where companies have done wrong, we expect the blacklisting so that they don't do business with the state anymore, and also blacklist the directors, right? So because if you only blacklist the companies, the directors go out and form other companies. So we need to see the whole system work consistently. Mm-hmm. We then will really see that we will turn the corner and really we stand the chance of winning this war.
Advocate Mothibi, hope as you conduct these raids and get the assets, your other colleagues will then do their part and bring about arrests and convictions. For now, thank you so much for speaking to us. Advocate Andy Mothibi, head of the Special Investigating Unit after the Maumela raid in the Sandton area today, where assets worth millions of rands were seized in relation to the Tembisa Hospital corruption scandal, where more than 2 billion rand, money meant for the most vulnerable people, the sick and the elderly, was basically stolen by people who allegedly spent it on things like more than 10 luxury vehicles, supercars